that everybody remembers was that very first day of the people hanging on the C-17, and four people died that day.
Yeah.
Televised.
What were the orders? How long were you prepared that you were going to have to do that? Like, just tell us the background information that us civilians don't know.
Yeah, I'll back it up a little bit. So at the time, I was leading the C-17 Special Operations Division here at Charleston Air Force Base. So for the listeners, they don't know, Charleston is home to the largest C-17 base in the world.
And those are helicopters?
No, all we have here is, it's Charleston International Airport. One side's the international airport, the other side's the military base. You can see all of our airplanes out there. It's also home to the only C-17 Special Operations Division in the Air Force is here in Charleston, called SOL 2. And what SOL 2 does is we're part of the nation's immediate response force. What that means is we sit on a 1-hour alert string. So right now, there are a group of pilots and other aviators, loadmasters, support personnel sitting on alert right now. They're in the dorms right now at Charleston Air Force Base waiting for a phone to ring.
Kind of like a fire department waiting.
That's right. You got it. Yeah. And it's a 24/7, 365 alert, and we just kind of rotate people through it. There's not a minute of life where we do not have these crews on alert.
Gosh.
And when that phone rings, you have to be airborne in an hour. So imagine that we're sitting right here, and I tell you, hey, right now you got to get to Charleston Airport and get on an airplane and take off in an hour. Like, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's a very specialized mission set.
Give us 2 examples of what those calls could be for those guys, just so we get a good frame.
Well, we got one for Afghanistan. All of this, I can't, unfortunately. It's still classified. Our mission it has to be classified for what we do. I will say, you have seen us in movies. There are some very popular mainstream movies out there on which the phone rang and our team went forward and did some cool stuff. But that's what happened in Afghanistan, is the phone rang. And when the phone rings, you have no idea. We're watching, we're getting intel reports. We see what's happening in Afghanistan. Essentially, we were drawn down out there.
So you were one of these guys on call in Charleston?
Yeah.
In Charleston, wow. And how long does it take you to get to Afghanistan in a C-17?
It took us probably 18 hours. We went direct. You make one stop, pick up one of the elite groups of people that we work with. And we're essentially the delivery force. Yeah. I don't want to put us in the same level as, some of these guys who kick down doors and shoot bad guys in the face.
Right.
That's not us. We're highly specialized tactical air delivery vehicle, essentially. But when that phone rang for Afghanistan, we took off. We did 2 air refuelings. So we took off. We do an air refueling over the East Coast. Then we did another air refueling over Europe, and we can literally get anywhere on the planet by doing these air refuelings. That took us all the way into the theater. And this was before the chaos that everybody saw. We had gotten an intel report. Well, we saw something was going to happen. Okay, the Taliban had reached the outskirts of the city of Kabul. My opinion is, what I think the administration was fearing was another Benghazi attack, right? We have an embassy there. We had an ambassador in the embassy. We still had Americans there in Kabul. And the Taliban, this, very sophisticated terrorist organization, right? These aren't just thugs. These are smart people who run a government. They're running a government right now. Well, their forces had reached the outskirts of Kabul, and I think we were fearing what could happen, having no idea that what happened was what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or how very fast it happened. I mean,
that's right.
Because they predicted, the intel community called the IC predicted weeks or maybe a few months of a inevitable collapse, and it was a matter of days or hours. It took a lot of people by surprise.
Yeah, I flew in there. Our first ingress, we call it, is we landed and it was pretty calm. People hadn't taken the field yet, and as a matter of fact, we just sort of started. My team, the special ops team, we weren't doing evacuation operation stuff. We were doing this very specialized tactical mission. But on our way out, we've sort of delivered the force that we deliver, and now I've got empty jets, and somebody comes out to us and says, hey, can you take all these people with you? And they were all interpreters. All Afghans, all interpreters. They all spoke English, very orderly. Here's a scenario that I could see that had kicked it off. No way to prove this, but this is a plausible theory, is we fill up our airplanes with these guys. And as we leave, they've got cell phones. Third world country, but they've got cell phones, every single one of them. Hey, I just got on an American airplane. I'm out of here.
Cousin.
The Americans are leaving.
Yeah.
Well, here's what the population was feeling at the time. We, the United States of America, employed many of these people. For 20 years, we were in Afghanistan. They knew that if the Taliban found out that they were assisting the United States of America, that the Taliban would murder them. Not just them, their entire family, right? This is a terrorist, extremist organization. They would murder you and your entire family. So these people knew, and the Taliban's right there, right outside the city gates. If they find us, we're dead. So thinking that America was leaving, all at once, maybe they get a text from one of the guys on my airplane that says I'm out of here. It caused a mass panic amongst the populace. And that's what America watched. And this was like right after.
Okay, so just I'm a little punchy here. So you actually had the translators. You let them in.
We took them, yeah. And this is, gotcha. I'm telling you, at this moment, it's orderly. Within hours, within just a couple of hours.
And could you make that call, or did you have to check with someone saying, can I take these people?
No, we just took them.
Gotcha. And there was a program for some of these folks who would work, on behalf of the United States for quite a while, that they would get an accelerated, eventually, citizenship, once they were vetted. But there's a program usually, particularly with the agency, where we want to take care of people that help us and put their lives at risk and their family's life, as Alex was saying, at risk. So we do what we can to facilitate that. We don't control that. Quite often State Department owns visas and passports and stuff like that. But there's a mechanism to kind of take care of folks that help you out. Mm-hmm. And now something like that with the pressure of thousands and now, and like Alex said, panic. Mm-hmm. Some of those protocols get thrown out the window.
Yeah,
and you do the best.
What we should have said, we should have told the Taliban. We were in communication with them. There are meetings. Right, you got to go back to President Trump is the one who ordered the withdrawal from Afghanistan. But we have a term for it. It's called an orderly withdrawal, conditions-based withdrawal. Right, we're going to do it on our terms. We have a way that we do this. Just let us leave, and then when we're done, we'll turn it over to you. That sort of narrative changed with the, in 2020 when Biden took over. It sort of, I think that, what we're seeing now, the peace through strength, like, hey, this actual threat, like, don't mess with us, Taliban. Don't mess with the United States of America. You're going to get your country back. We're leaving. We've been here for too long. That sort of forceful narrative went away from us and we became very passive. What we should have said was, Taliban, you're not allowed in Kabul. You're not allowed in this city. Go park yourself in the mountains. Go stay in your caves, wherever you came from. You can come in when we're gone. But that's not what happened. They literally entered the city, and that's what caused like that mass panic instantly, which we did not see coming and we're not prepared for.
Because these civilians are afraid of the Taliban.
Yes. Sure.
Yeah.
Them, and we're talking, the overwhelming preponderance of people we evacuated, 124,000 people end up coming out, is young families. Okay, these are young military-age males who are working for us. They're married, and they got 3 or 4 kids. I saw so many little kids under the age of 10. Those kids are going to get murdered. Gee. So we could have prevented it. We didn't. So this is sort of what happened. Why it caused that panic, and the panic was they all came just so Kabul is set up just like Charleston International Airport. Military on one side, the international airport on the other. Well, the military base is secure. The international airport is not secure. So that entire populace came from the international side. I mean, literally, there's not even fences over there. And they rushed the airfield, and this is then what America saw. We had just landed from that opening mission that I talked about. So we're watching this happen now, and we had airplanes on the ramp that were doing normal loading, just like very normal stuff. They got overrun by people. We had actually, I think one of the greatest decisions made, and we'll never find out who this leader was, this great hero was, but we saw the people coming and we established like a skirmish line, we send out the people with guns to sort of protect the military base. And somebody realized that's not an enemy over there. Civilian population, the last thing we need is a panicked, 19-year-old with a gun, squeezing a round off. That could have been one of the greatest tragedies for America ever. So we collapsed that. And got, took that threat from us out of there and the threat from the civilian populace, and they overran the field. And this is now what America's watching. The Afghan civilians are filming this live from their cell phones. And then I think what people also forget, so we watch that, the whole thing happens, they climb on that C-17, the C-17's taken off. By the way, the 2 young guys right here from Charleston, two of my younger guys flying that airplane. And then all of us there, kind of, we watched as.
So you're in it. Your young guys are flying it.
I'm not in this airplane.
Okay, gotcha.
No. We landed already, and but I'm watching, and I didn't even know it was them. I didn't even know it was my guys until they landed. Mm-hmm. We're watching them be surrounded, and I watched them take off. And what they didn't know, what nobody knew at the time, was that these people had climbed up under the gear. You couldn't see them. And when they took off, that's the first indication we had there were people there. As we watched the bodies start to fall off the airplane. And we don't need to get into it here. Unfortunately, it's more gruesome than that, because not everybody fell off the airplane, and they're flying 35,000 feet and whatever. I mean, it was tough what that air crew went through, what those guys went through. Here's what people forget: that was the first day. That was just day one of what then kicked off a 17-day chaotic evacuation operation of us experiencing things that we had never experienced before. And this is a combat zone, and we're experiencing things we had never before experienced in our lives. It was a wild and chaotic 17 days.
Yeah.
You were there the entire 17 days?
First in, and then at the very end of it, I was the air mission commander, and I flew the
So when the gate blew up, remember when the ISIS-K or somebody lit off the IED at the gate?
Abbey Gate,
yeah. What, 8 Americans, I think? 10.
August 26th.
Yeah.
Worst day of the evacuation.
Sure.
This all started August 15th, so this is the middle of it now. It's August 26th. Unfortunately, an inevitability, and I'll never forget where I was standing. I'll never forget the feeling of watching the smoke rise.
Sure.
The silence from all of us watching it. And when I saw the smoke, I do remember my first words were, "Oh no." And then we just started praying. I just started praying.
Yep.
I started praying for a low body count.
Yeah.
And it was 13 Americans who were killed, but dozens more wounded.